Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to GeoDepths, I think it's kind of an incremental mining sandbox survival base builder, in a infinite rocky world as far as I can tell, which is honestly a game idea that's, I don't want to say it's been like rumbling around in my head for ages. Whoa, I'm here? That's slightly different. I loaded this demo up a while back, but I was like somewhere else entirely, and I just immediately like checked out and didn't want to play more of it. Scan or to unlock recipes. Scan or to unlock research, no resources to scan. Okay, so we know how to scan. Now I just have to figure out how to grab stuff. Drill storage. Drill. Hub home base. Docking. Okay. Undock. Enter. Oh. Wait, how does this work? Oh, that's the brakes. Wait, really? Oh, this is different. I wasn't expecting I'd have more of like a mining ship kind of deal here. Okay. I'd almost wish this actually would have a full, like, 3D visualizer or something like that, but I do appreciate being in the Drillship. I think that's a cool idea. Yeah, so let's just mine an amount of this stuff. I don't know how much we're going to need. Looks like it can actually hold 10. Is my upper limitation here. Yep. So now we can just head straight home. Up home base. What? Oh. Oh. That's what that is. Okay, so how do I quit? Is this how I get out? Alright, cool. So this is how we dock. We offload our resources, and there they go. Oh, this is cool. So not only can we go laterally along that map, we can also dig down. Hence what that lever on the left is. Oh, this is way more interesting. Hopefully we do get some level of, like, sandbox development in here, but I was right about the whole incremental nature of this. Alright, here we go. Some resources to scan. Hopefully we can get an upgrade. Okay, so we don't have anything else. Scan or to unlock research. Don't think anything else. Maybe we have to go here first. Okay, retrieving resources. Scan or to unlock. I don't know. Let's just go out on another mining trip. See if I can go find that yellow-orange ore instead. Because that might be what I'm looking for as far as science goes. Because either it's exactly what I'm looking for or completely useless to me. Ooh. There's like 3 of these. Like each of these is a single resource type. Well, rather than wasting a bunch of time going only to the oranges, I think I'm probably just going to try and go for 1 orange every time. Or 1 set of orange every time. Really, I guess I'd like to clear out whatever resources I have around my base. Okay. I guess actually, let's head for this one. And then we'll head back. Oh, and it looks like there's 4 here. Well, that's slightly unfortunate. I guess I'll just leave it. We'll come back for the last one later. Not like I can dump any of the iron. Not sure if I'd want to do that anyway. Alright. Oh, and that yellow tells me that that's where the base is, if I go too far away. Alright. Let's see. Quit this. I think that's just purely for flavor and visuals. I was expecting this to have a little bit more of like kind of a Minecraft or a Tectonica style gameplay in terms of the mining and drilling. But this is actually kind of interesting. Okay. So we've got a bunch of iron. I don't think I can do anything with it yet. Yeah, so we're really just waiting for whatever that orange resource to get in so we can maybe do some science. Research some stuff and maybe I can do something useful with it. I don't know what that button does. Well, I got a bunch of iron ore. Let's scan whatever this is. It's probably copper, but it could be something else entirely. Okay, we have copper ore, hub construction, allowing the expansion of your base. Sure. Oh, I see. We just needed 150 before I could do anything. Alright. Sure, why not? Okay, so we have... Oh. So we have decorations, drill upgrades, and then hub construction. Use your multi-tool to start building. Okay, so we can do rooms, inventory terminals, refineries, research terminal. Okay. Looks like if I want to have another room, I have to just build it here. Oh, so it just gets bigger. Unfortunately, don't have anything else. So yeah, let's just go back out there. I think we're gonna need copper too. So I guess I'm just gonna go back to doing what I was doing, which was just grabbing everything. I could try and go deeper down, but I think I'm just gonna grab everything in my immediate vicinity. Just for simplicity's sake. And then hopefully we can get a drill upgrade out of this at some point. I'm almost getting... what was that game? Galactic Mining Corporation? I'm almost getting vibes from that. Not in terms of the raw gameplay, but just the progression feel. I should go back and, like, do another video on that game at some point. I only got so far in it, because it was a little grindy right from the get-go, but I thought it was kind of charming. I want more games that kind of... I don't want to say gamify just resource collection, because obviously, like, we've got dozens of those. I want more games that specifically take the traditional formula and then mess with it in some way, shape, or form. I don't hate base sandbox survival, but I do find it can be a little bit overdone and very repetitive. I'm just gonna come back here and start refining that copper. I'm sure there's other stuff I could do. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm sure there's other stuff I could do, but I just want to get those going for the time being. Let's see. Yeah, let's just finish this off. But I guess to finish my thought on just like sandbox survival games that kind of twist the formula in some way, shape, or form. I think so much of it boils down to the idea that every time I play a sandbox survival game, almost always it's the exact same. Wave your hand at bushes, punch trees until you get enough sticks, grab a couple of rocks, and kind of rinse repeat until you somehow have... Well, it's not like you actually get any more interesting as part of it. It's just kind of scaling up the punching of rocks. And there's a couple of them that do it well by introducing like some automation or whatnot to spice up the formula a bit. Which, you know, I personally appreciate greatly, if only because it's super boring to just constantly be punching rocks. Especially if like the rocks get harder to punch, but I get a better pickaxe so I can punch harder too. It's this weird kind of bad arms race that doesn't get more interesting. And so like, give me some automation so I can start grabbing these things or grabbing them faster, or... you know, processing them into other things, or getting somebody else to do it, or something. I don't know. I'm a sucker for automation, that's part of it. I don't think we have anything else to research at the moment. We want the drill, scan ore, and cave discoverables. Cave discoverables. Haven't found any of that yet. Yeah, let's start working on that. Do you have anything else? So, inventory terminal, another refinery, but we already have one. We already have a research. Yeah, I'm not really enamored with any of these. So let's just go back out there and see if I can find a cave. Let's see. Well, we could also go deeper. I think that's our answer. There might be other caves higher up. Cave. Oh. I actually hop out here. Okay, we do actually have a flashlight. Doesn't look like it can shoot or anything. Pocket plant. I don't know if we can do anything with those. But yeah, just run around scanning things for even more science. Well, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I think these were worth a lot. Yeah, 100 science per. But not the red mushroom. No one cares about those. Kind of a downer. I don't think I can do anything with him. Interact with him in any way, shape, or form. What about the blue mushrooms? No. Okay, so some of these are window dressing. And therefore uninteresting to the powers that be that determine what I scan. Let's see, undocking. And we're good. I think this is kind of neat. It's a little basic. And I feel like it could use a little bit more, like, direct interaction and exploration in some way, shape, or form. Even to the point of, like, actually make it slightly Metroidvania-ish. So some of these caves are a little bit larger and more complex and require me to either build machines or interact with them in some way, shape, or form. Because as it stands, just popping out to scan a thing, it's cute. Needs a little bit more. I don't know. I'm very obsessed with, like, I don't want to say, like, needs a little bit more. How would I describe it? I've been very obsessed with games, wanting games to succeed. On Steam, on the market in general. For quite a while now. I mean, that should be kind of obvious. It's tied to my job. Whenever I'm featuring a game, I'm effectively throwing my hat in the ring for, like, I want this game to succeed. I want this game to do well. I want it to do well enough that if a game is succeeding, if people are interested in it, one, like, if it's a good game, people are more willing to watch it on my end. But if a game is doing rather well, I also get the added benefit of people wanting to find my video, or finding my video and wanting to stick around, because the game is good, and therefore, you know, well, hopefully they want to figure out, like, is this game good? Yes, it is good. Cool, let's watch some more of it. And so it's some level of symbiosis there. But, let's see, do we want to get more? No, let's grab the resources while we're here, and then go up. But so, like, on a self-serving level, it's good for me and my channel metrics to specifically feature games that I think are going to do well. But even beyond that, as part of that, like, I've been working in this industry for almost 10 years now. And it's kind of one of those where there's a lot of games that just, like, don't do well, and it kind of sucks. Because there's so many games with, like, tons of promise and great ideas and a bunch of things like that. But because of either lack of marketing or, you know, missing one or two kind of crucial features, or like an over-obsession with, like, something that most people in the markets don't care about. I'm, like, right next to home. Well, that's convenient. Or just, like, not having enough of the right stuff, or the right kind of secret sauce. I always go back to Hadean Tactics, where I was originally pretty disinterested in the game to the point where I don't think you can find my original videos on it, because I just was not thrilled with what I was experiencing. What's this one? Plant or planter? Interesting, but let's get the drill upgrades first. Looks like I might need an upgrade terminal, which I don't know how to do that. Maybe this will give me the tech for it. Yes, we'll also do the planter and start refining. Okay, so question is, well, I could do another room, but inventory terminal, refinery, research, drill, upgrade terminal. Okay, so we do actually have this as an option. I'm just gonna put it here, because no matter what, we're going to need it. So, navigation speed, storage is probably the one that I want to grab first. Actually, it looks like we're going to have enough iron for it. Because I like to do mining in depth, but the more I can carry back with me, the better. Yeah, it just takes a while to refine. It's fine. And so, I guess as part of this, if you ever hear me, if ever during a video, it feels like I'm overly focused on... There we go. If I'm overly focused on, like, criticizing a game, it's almost always because I actually like the game more. I guess there are, like, a couple of states for a Wanderbot video as part of this. Because, for me, I believe in almost every game that I cover, it's very rare for me to put out a video on a game that I don't enjoy or don't think, or, you know, where I think it's actually worth something. Unironically, like, Redfall, I'll have to play more of it, but my first 2 hours of the game was, like, actually just a lot of fun. And so, like, you can't pay me to have a different opinion. You can pay me to specifically feature a game that I might normally not have tried. And if it's bad, I'll probably just, like, return the video and just be like, nope, can't do this. You can't make me. That gets into some level of, like, weird contractual dispute issues, but, eh. But it's one of those where, like, I try very hard to be reasonably fair, but also, like, somewhat selective about what I cover. I'm not as selective as some people. Like, I know Splat, for example, is pretty good at picking only bangers, but he also puts out half as many videos as I do. So that gives him a little bit more leeway in the market. I think next we're gonna get... Do we want drill speed? I think we might want movement speed. I don't know, one way or another, being able to take 20 back with me seems worth it. You know what? Actually, here's what we're going to do. I'm just gonna go down a layer. There we go. Because we need to go south to get back home. However, if I go down a layer, there might be some resources on the way back for me to grab. I should probably go to that cave next. Maybe I should have gone to it first. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And so, like, I'm already pretty enthralled with what this is doing. In terms of, like, its core ideas. I love the idea of incrementally exploring and mining through this kind of cave world and getting upgrades. Using either the research materials or the resources that I find while I'm exploring, and using that to make a bigger and better drill over and over and over again. I think that's a really cool idea, and I want to see more of this. My big fear is mostly just that a lot of these caves are going to be virtually identical. Like, I actually could not tell you if this is the same cave as the last cave I went into or not. It feels like it, but it was marked as though I had never been in it. But my worry is that... Yeah, this is the same cave I've been in. My worry is with this one, I don't think there's anything for me to scan, which is kind of a downer because I do need more... I ostensibly need more research materials. I think it just needs a greater variety, and I mean, this is only a demo, so there's going to be plenty of opportunities for this to get more content. but I would be very afraid? I don't know, I'd be very cautious about this game having too little in terms of, like, things you can do. And then also I'd like to see the digging and minings, I don't want to say, like, increased in some way, shape, or form. The closest comparison I can think of with this is actually, what was it called? Volcanoids. Volcanoids has a very similar digging and mining setup, where you are digging through kind of this underground labyrinth, and there are some resources to grab, but also caves to pop out into, with some objectives to do. I don't think Volcanoids does it that much better, but there's at least some terrain to worry about, so you don't, like, go driving through a lava path, for example. And considering how incremental this game is, I almost feel like it would be better to have a much denser set of resources, but make the underground a little bit more interesting to traverse. Like, straight-up lava paths that you eventually get the ability to harden your drill, so it can go through lava somehow. I guess I should probably start refining some of that copper. I guess I'll start researching decoration. I don't know when we're going to be able to get the next thing. Unless there's no more research in the game. I almost actually wish it would tell me what my next one will be. But I might also need to find a different resource type to get there. Okay, so we got the drill upgrade. Research, inventory. We got more rooms. Needs 8. Yeah, so unfortunately I think the thing that I need most is mostly just, I mean, iron and copper, but I think more iron than copper at the moment. We'll go back out there. Let's see. Well, I don't have much going on here, so let's go a little bit deeper and see what I've got. Because I more or less just need a lot of iron. I want to grab as much as I can. And we'll come back. Kind of rinse and repeat a couple more times. But considering this game has some level of incrementalness, you know, upgrade your drill, increase its speed, capacity, and depth. You know, if there are a number of more interesting upgrades, or even things that you had to find. I don't want to say, like, bases you had to raid. Well, actually, I mean, that would kind of be it, is just, like, add a little bit of the, add a couple of structures to go into and be like, oh, you know what's going on here, and, you know, maybe the main character is a dwarf or something, or, you know, another miner. Actually, okay, but, you know, if there were, like, things to find lore, or weird dialogue bits that are just like, hey, you know, this planet is not safe, be wary, or just, you know, details of the previous mining expedition and who were abandoned, or anything like that. Little narrative bits wouldn't be a bad idea. But I still think just having more obstacles and, like, ways to get weird upgrades as you're going along, even to the point of, I hate to say roguelikeify everything, but what if the caves were somewhat randomized and you popped them open, and one of the caves actually straight up has a drill machine module in it that you can take back, and maybe it does something completely different. And since the caves are slightly randomly generated on a, like, one saves the next, you might get something different. The reason why I bring this up is there's a game, Surviving Mars, it's been on the market for a while. But one of the things it had was, like, a very predictable research tree, but every once in a while you'd have, like, a random event that would give you a random piece of tech. And I remember getting robots really early on, to the point where I hadn't even brought colonists onto the planet yet, and I needed exactly one colonist to make the robots, and so I imported, like, I think it was just one robot, or, like, one person. I almost feel like I should just have 2 refineries. Oh, maybe that's what I should do. 1 for copper, 1 for iron. Yeah, I think we've got enough copper at this point. Iron, though, not great. We'll probably want to do speed just for getting around. I'm just going to go out there. That's going to take a while, and I don't feel like waiting. Let's see. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay, right. I was talking about surviving Mars. Let's just keep heading for that iron. And so, yeah, I had like one guy show up to work on my androids. And then, otherwise, I didn't import any more colonists. And it suddenly changed the whole game. That rather than, you know, rather than being about forming a Martian colony, effectively it was about the androids going rogue from, like, right from the get-go. And just setting up their own colony on Mars. Obviously, there's no way, shape, or form the game was actually ever going to acknowledge that as a, mechanically or, you know, story-wise. For all intents and purposes, I was still colonizing Mars like I normally should have been. But at least in my head, there was that kind of cool factor of it. And then subsequent playthroughs of surviving Mars, you know, never had anything of that sort. I mostly bring it up just because of that kind of the mental image, but also that slight randomization made that so much more special for me. And therefore, I cared about it so much more, and still care about it so much more that I'd like to try it again. And I don't know, if I ever start doing tabletop RPGs again, I think that would actually be a really interesting kind of sci-fi setting of straight up just like the robots manage to kind of hide sentience, sneak on board. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I just like the idea of, I guess, Martian independence. So sue me. I'm an American. It's kind of hard-coded into us historically to think fondly about revolutions, for better and worse. But, I don't know, I just thought it was a neat vibe. And I want more games to kind of have that, where it's slightly unpredictable. Because here, for the most part, the slight unpredictability is just, you know, whether or not I'm going to find a useful material in a cave, which is okay. Well, maybe not useful material. Something to scan in a cave, and that's just kind of fine. But you could also just have an upgrade that's like, hey, is there science in this cave, or is this a waste of time? Which I actually think should just be an upgrade. I don't think that should be a hypothetical thing. I think that would actually be a huge time-saving measure. Of like, yeah, you already found all the scannables in here, so there's no reason to, let's see, I think we have to wait. Movement. Oh, that does actually also increase the depth. Oh. So, currently our maximum depth is 10. 10 meters. I guess it makes sense. And this just changes how fast we go up and down, but that would let us go down to 20. I'm actually quite curious how deep this game gets. Well, why don't we get speed next? And maybe I'll go looking for some things. The one slight unfortunate part here is I'm waxing hypothetical about what this game could include. There's a very real possibility it has some of these things. I just, you know, until I actually see it, I'm not going to know. That's always kind of an unfortunate side effect. Why don't we, I don't have anything else to do. Do we get another refinery? Because I could get a second refinery here. Or we could wait. I think we'll wait. We don't need it at the moment. Because it looks like the refineries just go automatically. So if I had one set up for copper and one for iron, it'd probably work better. Let's see. Well, let's go deeper. Oh, that is a fair bit faster. I just want to go down and see if we have another resource type on the scanner. I think it's kind of lonely. We've hit the bottom. So I'll have to get the depth upgrade. We don't have too much left. Let's focus on probably the 2-meter section. Or, sorry, the 1-meter section. Because this is where I've been digging around for now. It doesn't seem like there's too many differences. So I might as well more or less clear out the area I've mostly been focused on. That way we don't have to think about it again. As opposed to being kind of slipshod about it. But, I don't know. I'll still go back to, it would be so lovely to have just a couple of random texts that you can just find in here. Or even a lot of them, to the point where it's almost kind of impractical how many there are. And so players are forced to kind of choose, like, yeah, do I want the auto-mining drones? Because it'd be kind of cool if I actually could, as I'm digging around, build and connect, like, little mining bases that will slowly go out and grab resources for me. I guess the other thing I was thinking about, kind of within this vein, and all of this can be safely disregarded, I'm just, I don't know, seeing as we're in a point of repetition, I don't have much to fall back on except for slight feedback suggestions. And honestly, I actually really enjoy just dropping random, like, hey, this could be cool. Even if it's completely impractical, and that's part of the reason why I'm, like, safely disregard. Because I'm pretty sure the developer is going to watch this. But I know two things. One, I know the developer is going to watch this and maybe some of these ideas are useful. And two, I know other developers are going to watch this video and potentially get ideas for their own. And so I'll just kind of never stop just dropping random ideas. Because even if it isn't helpful on this one, it's helpful for somebody. And also it's just fun to talk about. The other game I'm thinking of, specifically in regards to this, is actually Dome Keeper. Because it has the whole random resources that you can, or random resources, the random text that you can find and utilize in various meaningful ways. So specifically, one of my favorite upgrades is just a grav lift that will bring... There we go. A grav lift that will just freely bring... close this. Don't want to do iron ore, we want to do copper ore. Okay, cool. So now my copper and iron will just be automatically processed, and I don't have to switch between them anymore. What I'd love to be able to do is actually upgrade this so it's a lot faster. I haven't seen it go by as an option yet, though. Looks like we're going to need some copper now. But so, for Dome Keeper, that grav lift is very valuable to me. Just in terms of convenience. So like I put out a video on it a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago? Last week, I think. I don't know. My sense of time is tenuous at best. But I put out a video and effectively my entire strategy revolved around not doing any work. I had 2 Drillbots that would just run around mining for me, and then a grav lift that would just take all the resources back. I didn't have to lift a finger, and it was great. Because, 2 things. Oh, looks like we do have an upper limit here. It was great for 2 reasons. One, I didn't have to lift a finger, so it was kind of a nice casual return to a game that is reasonably challenging, all things considered. Second thing, though, was that run now has kind of a distinct personality in my head. Something that I remember fondly, and might even try and redo in the future, but not necessarily. And kind of as part of that, being able to have runs or sessions or stuff like that, having them be a little bit more distinct and interesting, I think goes a long way at making a game stand out and especially boosts its replayability. I don't know how viable it is for like a small game like this made by, you know, I think it's a first-time developer, I could be wrong. But those small bits of replayability go such a long way at giving a game longevity. It's part of the reason why roguelikes have been doing so well, is that even like a ho-hum roguelike still has 10 times the replayability of a, well, potentially 10 times. Most ho-hum roguelikes still have a considerably higher amount of replayability compared to any like single-player linear AAA anything. Now, obviously, you potentially lose a lot of quality, I guess. I don't want to say quality necessarily. Production value. That's the word I was going for. There was a loss in production value with that kind of scenario. And, you know, for a lot of people, you kind of want that production value. It's how you're going to get the God of War Ragnaroks or the... trying to think of other examples. We need one more copper. Eesh. I mean, we'll have it. I'm just gonna have to wait. But that's how you get the God of War Ragnaroks. It's how you get the Elden Rings. It's how you get Bayonetta. How you get, I don't know, Ashura's Wrath. I'm not entirely sure if you can call that production value so much as just sheer grit for that game. But I'd have to actually have to play it. I just remember it was like the most spectacle game I've ever seen a video for. Even if, yeah, I haven't played it myself. But since those games have virtually no replay value, you know, maybe you get the Devil May Cry version where you've got harder difficulties that are kind of worth trying to S rank. But otherwise, like, you're really not going to be playing Devil May Cry over and over again for the story. I'll do that for like a handful of games. I'm thinking like Final Fantasy VII. I'm really looking forward to playing Final Fantasy twice, because I never played the original. I played like part of it, and then 7R is still ongoing. And from what I've experienced from 7R, I really enjoyed that game, and can't wait to play more of it. But even then, I would be hard-pressed to want to play either of those again for like a decade. Whereas, oh, what's a good example? Mindustry, Factorio, well, Satisfactory, Tectonica. I'm trying to think of a lot of these like more sandboxy games, and like roguelikes. Like, I really want to play Atomic Crops again. I probably will do so, just because. But like, I wanna play more of these non-linear, easily replayable games more often, because I like the core gameplay loop. But it gets a little bit boring, for some of them at least, just because it's the same thing over and over and over again. I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, ironically enough, Final Fantasy XII. I keep trying to play through Final Fantasy XII, and currently I'm like 4 hours in. And there's a very real possibility I'm just going to quit and not come back to it. I'm going to force myself, just for the sake of finally playing it through once. There's just something about that game that, like, the first couple hours, I'm just so totally disconnected from it. And it's hard for me to come back. And, like, it is nice to have different classes that you can kind of spec into. And so that level of variation is kind of nice for subsequent runs. Because the first time I picked, like, Time Mage, and it was a mistake. And so this time around, I think I picked Archer, which was an interesting choice, and I'm not sure if it was actually a good one. Seriously? I actually have to tell these things to refine. A big bit of feedback. Considering I have 2 of these, I kind of wish you could actually just tell them to go infinitely. So if this one is set to iron ore, it will just process iron ore until there's none, and then it just waits until we get more. It's not that big of a deal, but it would be very nice if I didn't have to turn these back on every single time I come back to base. Huge up, though. I don't actually have to worry about inventory. As long as it's in the base, I just have it. That's kind of nice. Just in terms of not forcing me to go grab resources and like shuffle them around storage cubes. That always sucks. Okay, so we've got all of those. Doesn't look like we have any more research. So let's go down, but unless there's something really interesting in one of those caves down on level 11 or 11 meters down, we'll probably just call it. Because yeah, I still think when mining, for example, if I randomly found a bit of alien tech and, you know, I could bring it back to base with me and it would have something weird or something useful and cool, I think that would go such a fair distance at making this game, like, really spicy in a fun way. Like, it doesn't have to happen often, or, like, at all. Or even, like, maybe sometimes you'd be digging here and you'd actually open up a cave. Because I think just revealing small hidden objects in the immediate environment around me when I'm digging in each of these spots, I think would be kind of huge. The other thing I'd also say is maybe making the drill ship really slow, but making the areas a little denser. Maybe. I don't know. It's just kind of weirdly big. And there's no, like, zoomed out map. And I'd almost rather be able to see the entire dang map here than to go faster. And what? Oh, and that way, well, I don't know. I was gonna say, and that way, when you eventually get the ability to swim through lava, like, don't even tease it as an upgrade or anything like that. Just eventually have it be like, yeah, you can go through lava now, and all of a sudden those first levels suddenly become way more interesting. Because, hey, would you look at that, there's actually stuff to do here. Maybe. Seriously? Find cool glowy mushrooms, and turns out they're just set pieces. Actually, it seems like this entire cave is bunk. Definitely need a cave scanner. Just a quick something to tell me if there's actually anything worth it in here. Alright, let's go find another cave. Should be another one over here. Yeah, there's a couple. I'm gonna try and bring, like, an equal amount of both back with me, just because. I was just hoping I could get into a cave, get a little bit of research material, just so whatever new tech we find is something we can actually acquire. Ooh. A lot to dig through. I haven't said this yet. I really like the low poly art for this. I'm kind of sick of a lot of low poly art just because I find it can be a little overdone. Too many games use the same low poly 3D models that they bought as part of an art pack. And I've kind of grown to hate that specific art pack just because it's an easy sign that the developer didn't want to hire an artist or didn't have the budget for it, which, like, I can't necessarily fault them for. Oops. Whatever. But it mostly just kind of feels, like, phoned in at the moment. I'm trying to think of a good example. It's like a, you go to a website for, like, I don't know, let's say a wedding planner. A wedding planning service. And they just have a bunch of stock photos that you've seen 5 times before on other wedding planning services, and you're like, I am pretty sure that, you know, you don't have a good relationship with a wedding photographer, and if you advertise that service, I'm not sure if I'm going to believe you. Obviously, this is kind of like a weird example, but it's the only thing my brain can come up with in the moment. These things are eerie looking. But inherently, there's kind of that feeling of, like, if a game has asset flip visuals, there's a reasonable, but not entirely 100% possibility that the game itself might not actually be that original in terms of core concept or execution. I don't necessarily, like, begrudge a lot of games that kind of follow suit. I would have issues with bullet heavens in that case, because many of them are kind of repetitive. Yeah, let's go hit up this other cave and then we'll go back. I don't know how much research I'm going to need, and so the more I can have, the better. At least you can tell in the darkness pretty quickly if there's some... Whoa, that's weird. That door just lost all collision as soon as I told it to open. It's reasonably easy to tell if there's going to be a scannable ahead. Okay, good, I can't jump. I was like, I really hope I don't get stuck here. That'd be a little unfortunate. I'm trying to remember maze logic, which is specifically... can I actually go through this? Yeah, there's nothing in here. Just always follow everything, like keep the wall to your left or right hand and just keep following that around, and you'll eventually find the exit. That's not actually always true. There are quite a number of situations where that is quite false. I think. I'm not actually sure. I don't do enough mazes and I haven't put it into practice too often. I try a lot of times when I'm exploring an area, but it doesn't always remain true. But I have just enough of a headache that I'm having trouble visually designing a maze while doing commentary that would specifically break that rule. I guess if the exit, or if there's something important towards the center of the maze, you might miss it. I think you might still find the exit, though. I'm not sure. I really, really hope we get a speed upgrade for some of these things. And a little bit more like base building. Like, this whole area is kind of just a question mark. I almost hate to say it, but introduce some level of survival elements in it. Make it so maybe I do actually have to worry about some cave farming. Just in terms of, like, hey, some of these caves actually have goodies that you want to eat. So eat. Now, let's see if this unlocks a new tech for me. Yep, there it is. Construction 2. Well, we got enough science for it, which is nice. I think maybe it has to finish this before it switches? Okay, there it is. So, corridors and doors for more advanced construction. Really? Is that it? Room, corridor, corridor door. Alright. We have zinc. Okay. Secondary terminals. Music player and discovery terminal or drill upgrades. I think we can actually get all of them. Let's just do the quick research just to see what these get me. And then we'll probably call it here. Okay, other thing I should probably do, start refining these. Okay, so what are the next drill upgrades? So we cannot go further with depth. Mining shape cells 2 to 4. Capacity up to 30. And movement up by a fair bit. We cannot go deeper, but that's probably because of the demo. Okay, secondary terminals. Research terminal, drill, discoveries, but I need 3 zinc. Hub master controls. Looks like they don't require too much. So as soon as this is done... Oh, it's really slow, isn't it? It's not like... painfully slow, but it's slow enough. I think we'll do the discoveries terminal before I mess with the master controls. There it is. Let's see. Just rotate it around. Oh, really? Really doesn't want me to put that there. Anywhere near any of these walls. Oh, here's fine though. Okay, and this is just lore for each of the things I find. They're okay. Alright, so one way or another, I think this is a good stopping point. GeoDepths is a really interesting game. It has a long way to go, just in terms of, like, making the incremental a little bit more interesting. I like the basic upgrades here, but I would love a little bit more, like, kind of lateral variety. Even to the point of, what if every time you get one of these upgrades, you also, like, you get the base stats, but you get a choice between, like, one of 3 options. You know, do you want to go faster? Do you want to go up and down faster? Or do you want just, like, 2 extra storage capacity? So sure, you're going to be slower, but you can carry more. Those little bits and those little choices are... I don't think they really change the game too much. But I'm going to stick by my statement of that little extra bit of player agency goes such a far way at making a game more interesting. that I will kind of hard, I don't want to say hard vouch for their inclusion. Maybe not in this one, but in other games as well. Okay, hub master controls. And then terminal controls. I don't know, dark red. My big fear is I'm not sure how much of this is, like, YouTube friendly. Anyway. So for now, I think it's a good stopping point. I had fun with this, and I'm looking forward to the eventual full release of it, but I do hope that it gets a lot more. Just to make it a little bit more long-term engaging. But for now, at least, if you guys want to try the GeoDepths demo yourselves, it's available on Steam now. Just follow the link in the description. You can try it out yourselves. See if there's any other things that I've possibly missed. But with that, if you guys like this video in any way, shape, or form, leave me a like, helps more than you know. And if you want to see more rad new games every single day, then hit subscribe because I got tons to check out and show off. But with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.